Hey guys, Phantom Phoenix here. Today I'm going to show you how I made the pants for my Ulta cosplay from Tokyo Ghoul. Let's get into it. First, I had to draft a pattern, so I started by finding a harem pants pattern on Google and found a tutorial on how to draft a simple pattern based on my measurements, which I'll link in the description below. I did need to make some modifications to the pattern to fit Ulta's design, first by making separate pattern pieces for the calves, which I made by wrapping my calf with some scrap fabric and used that as a pattern. The only other modification that I made was adding another piece of fabric that will go on the inner part of the thigh up to the crotch of the pants, which looks like a teardrop shape. I had made an original version of these pants and I wasn't happy with how it turned out, since the fabric I used was far too thin, so I made the new final version with a slightly stretchy fleece-like material that has a lot of structure. Here you can see in this first clip that I'm taking apart the first version and using it as my pattern. Once I had my pattern pieces, I cut them out of my fabric. 2 of the main pants pieces along the fold, 2 calf pieces, and 2 of the crotch pieces. I made sure to iron all the pieces to get any wrinkles out. So now I'm going to place the main pants pieces right sides together and pin them along the long straight edges. I'm also going to fold the calf pieces in half, pinning them, and I will sew all of these pieces along the pinned edges. With all of that sewn, I'm taking the main pants piece and flipping it right side out and folding it so the seam I just made is going down the center of the pants. And then this is where those crotch pieces come into play. I am pinning them along the inside of the pants right sides together with the main part of the pants, and looking back at this now, I really should have sewn the 2 crotch pieces together at the top center part before pinning them and sewing them to the pants, as it would have made sewing it a lot easier, but I managed to make it work in the end. And also, these pieces aren't totally necessary to the cosplay, but I'm trying to stay as true to the original design as possible, and Ulta does appear to have these extra pieces on his pants, so that's why I'm personally adding them. Here you can see how it would be kind of semi-difficult to sew this since I didn't sew those 2 pieces beforehand. Now to attach the calf pieces to the main pants. I start by quartering both the top opening of the calf piece and the main opening of the pants. Quartering is basically placing 4 equally spaced pins along the edge of an opening as to make sewing the pieces together much easier and to make sure it's even. Once I've quartered both pieces, I pin them right sides together, making sure that I match all sets of pins, and I pin the pieces together. The calf piece will need to be stretched while pinning since its opening is smaller than the main part of the pants' opening. For these seams, I'm going to be using a zigzag stitch since I don't want the stitching to break when putting on and taking off the pants. For all the rest of the seams, I use just a basic straight stitch. Now for the waistband, I couldn't be bothered to make a whole new waistband, so I just used the one that I made for the first version, and I won't go into detail on how to make this very simple waistband, but I will link a tutorial if you're not sure how to make one. So to attach it, I'm using the same quartering of the waistband and top edge of the pants, since we are working with elastic, and using a zigzag stitch to attach it. Now to make the template for the writing on his pants. I laid down some wrapping paper and traced the pants just along the parts that had the design on them. With that, it's just completely eyeballing where to place everything, and I'll tell you that I could not find a decent picture of him where the entirety of the design on his pants was showing, so I had to search far and wide to find pictures to figure out what the right side of his pants looked like. I think that I have figured it out, so I have done the research so you don't have to. And again, this whole thing is completely eyeballed in terms of the placement, so you don't have to be completely exact. Like a dummy, I didn't film how I transferred the design onto the pants, which you can barely see in the video, but it's there, trust me. But what I did do was cut every single letter and trace them onto the approximate place that I had them on the pants. This was pretty time consuming and pretty irritating, so if you have any better ideas on how to better transfer it, I'd definitely like to know for future projects. Once I had the design very faintly traced onto the pants with just a basic ballpoint pen, I started to paint the design on with just some fabric paint. After I had painted on a few coats of the paint, I was done. So this is the final product, and thank you guys so much for watching if you made it to this point, and I will see you guys in the next video.